right, let's talk a little bit about the Browns right off the go here, because this Myles stuff is unnerving and everybody's adrenaline's a little up. Do you think that there's a benefit to a player coming out and requesting this trade publicly? Is it always end up public? That's kind of my question. Does it always end up public?
What's interesting about this particular case is Myles Garrett, shortly after the season, there were some rumblings, right, that he wasn't happy. And then allegedly he met with some Browns brass. And whatever happened in that meeting, everybody assumed that Myles Garrett was back on board, that the Browns were going to continue on. And then all of a sudden, here on Monday, he drops this letter where he says, basically, he loves the organization, he loves being in Cleveland, but that he wants to really chase a championship, and he feels that getting out of Cleveland is his best route to do that. And as a fan, Nick, it's really hard. I'm split. I'll tell you what, we've seen this organization over the years, and we've seen they haven't been able to put him in a position where he can win a Super Bowl, even consistently get to the playoffs. So if I'm Myles Garrett, I'm thinking the same thing. And right now, you're at an organization, once again, at a crossroads. This is what happened when you don't have a good answer at quarterback. It permeates the whole organization. I don't care if you're keeping Kevin Stefanski, if you've got stability in the front office, if you're making bad decisions, and those bad decisions manifest themselves at the quarterback position, number one, and then all over the field after that. Eventually, you've got veterans like Myles Garrett going, okay, I've tried it. It hasn't worked. It's time to try it somewhere else.
Yeah, and Myles Garrett has worn the Browns uniform for 8 seasons, and I don't need to take people back to the painful times where they acquired him fresh off the heels of 1-15, and then his rookie year where he's hurt half the year and end up going 0-16.
0-16. He went through 0-16. He was there with us in the trenches.
So, 8 seasons in a Browns uniform, and what's he really have to show for it? One playoff appearance with Baker Mayfield where they were able to go to the divisional round of the postseason. We're kind of knocking on the doorstep of an AFC championship game. Ultimately, weren't able to get past the Kansas City Chiefs. And then a magic carpet ride with Joe Flacco in the postseason 2 years ago. Other than that, though, what have the Browns really given Myles Garrett, and vice versa? What has he really been able to say outside of the Defensive Player of the Years, outside of the All-Pros and the Pro Bowls? What has he truly accomplished in a Browns uniform? And he keeps going back to, he wants to win Super Bowls, he wants to win championships, and he just went ahead and told the whole world right now that whatever meetings transpired after the season, he doesn't believe that he's in a position in Cleveland to compete for a Super Bowl, to compete for championships in short order. So it's unnerving. I like that word, Gab. It's just disappointing. When you see the best player that the organization has had since 1999, of course, it's an unsettling feeling to see that guy say, you know what? I've had enough. And he loves this city. He loves this community. He's a minority owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Like, the city of Cleveland does mean a lot to Myles Garrett, but there's no doubt in my mind that he felt pretty strongly and has kind of dug into his conviction if he felt the need to go public with all of this.
And to Chris's point, there were rumblings and him insinuating in post-game press conferences that he doesn't really want to stick around for the rebuild. Do you think potentially this letter that he penned was maybe in the works during the season?
Absolutely. I don't think it's changed much. I think whatever that meeting was with the Browns didn't go as well as maybe the media and maybe the Browns had thought. I think Myles Garrett, eventually he wanted to get some personal accomplishments, I think, off of his list, right? And he's done that with the Defensive Player of the Year. He's obviously a premier pass rusher in this league. And now he's looking at, hey, what's my legacy going to be in the NFL? And he wants that Super Bowl. And, there's that part of me. If you're in your career and you're doing all you can with the organization and the organization isn't getting you to the spot where you want to be, what do? You put your resume out there. You go to a different organization. And I think that's where he's at. He's hit those personal accomplishments. Now he's trying to get the team accomplishments. Under Jim Schwartz, he's had some good runs at defensive coordinator. We've had a premier defense here. Yeah. He's very frustrated, I believe, with the other side of the ball right now, and the fact that not everybody is carrying water right now for the Cleveland Browns, and he's had to be the guy.
I had a source reach out to me Saturday, actually, and they said after talking with Myles Garrett at an event, this weekend at the Pro Bowl, which is supposed to be a big celebration, they didn't get the vibe that he was necessarily excited about the Browns next year. They actually used the word detached.
He's one of us. He really does understand
when he was asked about the Cleveland Browns. So it's definitely been on his mind for some time, that his end in Cleveland could be sooner than we thought. Now you look at what the Browns are doing, and they're kind of digging their heels in. They're saying, no, we're not going to trade a generational talent of Myles Garrett. And they had, anticipated his path being from Cleveland to Canton as a first ballot Hall of Famer. So now this has all gone public. It's all going to play out very publicly, as these things tend to do. So we'll be buckled in here, and we're along for the ride.